just heard, if you didn't recognize it, was Ludwig van Beethoven's Ode to Joy theme from his Ninth Symphony, a super popular musical work that has played a significant part in history. Hi, my name is Kate Schwarz, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about my brief research on this symphony and its use in movies. This triumphant symphony has been featured in several mediums of 21st century entertainment, most notably in films like Die Hard, Clockwork Orange, and The Dead Poets Society. And today I want to talk about those films' use of the music and how the meaning of the symphony might have changed since being included in these movies. Filmmakers often use music to push forward or contradict the plot they are accompanying. In Die Hard, Clockwork Orange, and Dead Poets Society, each use the Ninth Symphony for very specific reasons. For example, Dead Poets Society uses the Ode to Joy theme very literally, as they employ the final movement during a time of joy and celebration in the movie. The particular scene is when Robin Williams' character John Keating is playing a game of soccer with his students. They play into the sunset, and when a goal is made, Keating is lifted up upon the boys' shoulders with a fist in the air for celebration. It's a climactic point of happiness for the students who live in a rather rigid world, and the choir singing Ode to Joy elevates the scene to translate sophisticatedly that could only be done with a genre like classical music. But our other two films use Beethoven with more sinister motives. In the case of Die Hard, the ninth is used when Hans Gruber, Alan Rickman's German terrorist character, seems to be promoted to the heroic figure as his plans unfold successfully. But the choice of this music was pushed by the director to showcase Hans's German heritage. As the Ninth Symphony and Beethoven's music in general is often associated with a German nationalistic sound, this is problematic due to the poem the Ninth is actually based on. Written in 1785 by Friedrich Schiller, the poem On die Freude, translating to Ode to Joy, was written about the unity of brotherhood, which in history has translated to the unity of all men, and has remained a protest anthem and a celebration of music around the world. However, during the time of the Nazi regime, the symphony was used to push forward Hitler's ideas of Germany, which is why it was difficult for the composer of Die Hard to use the ninth in this way. But the director of the film was actually inspired by the twisting of the original meaning of the work done in Clockwork Orange, that he wanted to use the ninth the way Stanley Kubrick, the director of Clockwork Orange, used it. In this film, Beethoven is a primary theme and is a godlike figure for the violence-driven main character, Alex. Alex worships Beethoven, and especially the Ninth Symphony. He translates it to fuel his violent, sex-driven mind, and it's often the background music for when Alex rapes and commits heinous crimes. And then, as Alex is subject to aversion therapy to change his violent behavior, the ninth is used, and this makes Alex cry in pain because, as he states, they shouldn't use the ninth in that way. Kubrick did this intentionally due to the flaws in Schiller's poem, making the argument that the text has underlying themes of the violence of humanity. The poem does have some questionable stanzas, but with all historical work, we have to read it in the context of the times of when it was written. It's very interesting how this musical work's meaning seems to have been dependent upon the interpretation of the user. The emotional power of Beethoven's music seems to be abstract in this sense, and it makes me very curious how history will continue to treat the Ninth Symphony moving forward. This is Kate Schwarz. Thank you for listening.